In my previous video, 13 Signs of Autistic Burnout, link to that video is in this video description, I break down common signs of autistic burnout. Today, let's talk about the 9 causes of why we experience autistic burnout. Let's get started. Hey, Define Yourselfers, I'm Chris Mitchell from theconfidentautistic.com. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I appreciate both my new viewers and returning viewers taking the time to watch these videos. I'm an autistic adult, late diagnosed, an advocate for autistic adults, and a digital creator empowering other autistic adults and everyone else to embrace autism. Now, if this resonates with you, please consider subscribing to this channel. And when you subscribe, don't forget to ring the bell to be notified of new videos and when I go live on this channel. Autistics like you and me may experience burnout at different points in our life, and maybe more than once in our life, when expectations increase and new, more complex skills are required to keep up or to cope. Basically, autistic burnout is caused by too much stress and not enough help. But let's go deeper. Unrealistic expectations can contribute to autistic burnout. Autistic people like you and me may feel pressure to meet expectations from family, work, school, society, which over time can lead to burnout. Now, this is even, I don't know if I want to say a bigger risk, but it can be more prevalent for those of us who are fawners. That means people who are people pleasers, autistics who are people pleasers. If we are people pleasers, or if you're a people pleaser, and you try to please everyone, you're definitely at times going to be encountering unrealistic expectations that you want to meet so you please someone so they like you. And doing this over a prolonged period of time or repeatedly can lead to autistic burnout. Lack of acceptance is another contributing factor to autistic burnout. And what this means is autistic people like you and me may feel a lack of acceptance and inclusion in society. Now, we could go into a deep dive and go into rants on, stigma that's associated with autism, ableism, discrimination, the list could go on. And these are real things. And whether we're experiencing any of those at the moment or not, we may have a perceived lack of acceptance in our lives. And over time, that can contribute to autistic burnout. I know for myself, I have a perceived lack of acceptance pretty much constantly because friendships are very difficult for me. I will do a deeper dive into this into another video on my other video series called My Autistic Journey. But basically, I don't have a lot of friends, and understanding the complexities and the nuances of a friendship kind of are beyond my grasp. So I don't have that many friends in my life, like I may have mentioned, and it's hard for me to make friends. So I just feel that people do not accept me, and that causes my lack of acceptance feelings that I'm having as an autistic adult, and even as a kid, as a autistic kid, I also felt like nobody accepted me for who I was. Masking. Oh, this is a really big topic in our community. Masking is a very big contributor, and maybe a leading contributor to autistic burnout. Now, we mask for many reasons, but before we get into that, for those that are not familiar with the term, autistic masking is a learned coping strategy that autistic people use to appear neurotypical and fit in with society. You want to know more about autistic masking, check out my video, What is Autistic Masking? For a deeper dive. And a link to that video is in this video description. Now, autistic people may mask their traits to avoid stigma or to fit in, which can be mentally taxing over time. A lot of us mask so we can fulfill those unexpected expectations. A lot of us may mask so we can feel accepted by others in our society. And this is and over time doing this masking, is going to cause us fatigue, can cause us it's mentally taxing, which can cause us other mental health issues. Masking, we see it as a coping mechanism, but at the same time, it can cause us even more problems as autistics. Daily hassles can also contribute to an experiencing autistic burnout. Daily hassles are sources of stress that are not life changing but have a cumulative effect. Like your Wi Fi is out, or you have a technical issue with a computer, or you missed your bus to work, or you were late to work because you got stuck behind a train. Or what happens here at this house twice a day, we have to beg and barter with our cat to get him to take his insulin and his allergy medicine. And those are daily little hassles, little things, and not real big, but if they keep happening and you're experiencing them or different things, different little daily hassles, over time that can contribute to your experiencing autistic burnout. Now, daily hassles may be small things, but life changes are much bigger and also are a contributing factor to autistic burnout. Major life transitions, like starting a new job or moving, can cause burnout. In my case, as I'm doing this video, I'm in autistic burnout. I'm experiencing it right now. And one of the things I believe contributing, a cause, contributing, whatever, but one of the reasons why I'm going through autistic burnout is a major life transition I'm going through right now. 3.5 years ago, from the time I taped this video, my wife was diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer, and this has changed our world. She is now on long-term disability. She had more aches, pains. I moved into the role, and I don't mind. I'm not complaining. I love her very dearly. Into her caregiver. I set her meds. I make sure she takes her meds. I advocate for her medication. I advocate with doctors. I deal with insurance companies. Whole bunch of stuff I never thought I had to do that are new to me. And this is a major life change for me. Life change, and not just for me, but for us. We are not traveling at this point in our life because some days she feels like doing a lot. Other days she's in so much pain she just wants to sleep off and on in her chair watching TV. So this is an example of a major life change uh, that I'm going through, and maybe you could relate to or will help you identify a major life transition or major life change that is contributing to your autistic burnout. Why do daily hassles and major life changes throw us into autistic burnout? Because as autistics, many of us, have trouble coping with change. See, change is difficult for many autistics. I know it is for me, okay? We like things to be predictable. We find rules and routines to support our desire to live a predictable life. We seek them out, we create them, we want them because we like things to be baseline. Nothing changes. That gives us comfort and gives us security. So when there is a change in our lives, or even when we know a change is or may be coming, it is a difficult time for us autistics. It often it is often hard for us to imagine what change will look like and all the things we might need to do or that will be involved in making this change in our lives. Like I mentioned when we talked about life changes, my wife had been diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. I know there's more changes coming. I'm very grateful right now. Her health pretty good. We're not into chemo yet, but that is really on the horizon at the time we're taping this video. And I know that that's going to require some changes. It's going to require um, at a certain point at the chemo lab at least once a week all day, and I will be there with her. I've been at every single appointment because I love her that much and I want to be there and support her through this event. But I also know with stage 4 cancer, more than likely, I think the odds are increased that she will go before me, and I'm going to have to sit through and watch um, the love of my life slip away and pass away. And that is scary to me. Part of the reason it's scary to me, and I believe is adding to my autistic burnout, is I know things are coming. I don't know what they are. And I like knowing what they are. One of my models, I've always said to my wife, whenever there's a health issue with any of our family members, I always tell her, we prepare for the worst and pray for the best. And I can't prepare for the worst because I don't know what the worst is. I mean, okay, death is probably the worst, but what I'm going to see before that and we're going to experience before that. And then the transition of living life without her. She's been a part of my life for 25 years. And that change, I don't know what that's going to look like. Is scary to me. And I'm sure this is contributing to my autistic burnout that I'm having. And I'm sharing this not for sympathy, not to use this as a free counseling session for myself or ego boost, but I'm sharing this information with you so you can maybe say, oh, I can relate. Something like this is going on in my life, or you can identify in your life how unexpected changes and changes that's coming, but you can't imagine what they look like, can be impacting your autistic burnout experience. Sensory sensitivities and unmet sensory needs can contribute to autistic burnout. Now, autistics like you and me may experience sensory overload or experience unmet sensory needs, which can contribute to burnout. And the interesting thing about burnout, at least in my experience, while I'm going through burnout, sensory overload it probably has contributed to it, but because I'm in burnout, my sensory overload is going into overload. I mean, I'm even more sensitive than I am when I'm not in burnout. And my major sensory issues is number one would be sound. Number two would be light. That's why I wear a hat most of the time. And I got a light in front of me to illuminate me, and it drives me batty. Anyway, that's my own problem. We'll move on. I also have some sensitivity to smells. Oh man, I love my wife, but there are things that she cooks. I don't know how she can eat them with that smell. And I still, to this day, do not understand how my cat can eat his wet cat food because that thing, I just got to leave the kitchen, and I have to eat before my wife eats certain foods. Otherwise, I have no appetite, and I'm just like, ugh. And some smells give me a physical pain of a headache, and it's like, oh man, this is not good. So those are my major sensors, and they've become more um, active. I'm having more sensory overload than normal during my autistic burnout. And sensory overload can contribute to it. Now it's sort of like a vicious cycle. Well, I have the sensory overload got me into autistic burnout. Now I'm having more sensory overload because I'm in autistic burnout, which causes more autistic burnout. It's a vicious cycle. It's not one I'm enjoying. Okay, so autistics may experience sensory overload or experience unmet sensory needs, which can contribute to burnout. Now, unmet, I don't have these, but there's some people who let me back up a little bit. I think I do a little bit. I Unmet sensory needs could be like you want to have more sound, more light. The opposite of the things that are sensory triggers for me. In my case, during this burnout, for various reasons, and I don't want to get into all of them, I'm not getting my sensory needs met, and this is G-rated. Don't worry, because my wife and we don't have physical contact as much because I don't want to cause her any pain because her breast cancer has moved into her bones, and that's an unmet sensory need for me. Having that physical contact of her holding me or rubbing my back because she used to rub my back at night and help me fall asleep. So, I that's a sensory need that's being undermet. And for those of you who crave sensory input, if you're not getting enough of it, that can contribute to your autistic burnout. Now, we may deny ourselves, statistics, autistics may deny ourselves our sensory needs in order to fit in or to, as we talked about earlier, mask. For example, suppressing stimulation seeking behaviors, aka stimming, or trying to maintain our presence in an environment that is overwhelming our senses can contribute. Now I'm doing this right now. Well, not at this very moment, but I mean overall in the big picture of things currently in my life. My wife is at home, like I mentioned, she's on long-term disability, and she watches the TV 24/7. It helps her. It helps her fall asleep and helps distract her from the pain. And I do not begrudge her for that. But each evening, when I get out of work from here in the office, I go out into the other room. I spend about 4 hours with her because I want to spend time with her. I love her and we need to be together. But the TV's on the entire time. And that is really hard on me. And I put myself in that situation. And it's not only hard, it's overwhelming because I want to be there for my wife and I try to mask it and suppress it. But I know that this constantly being around the TV that's on 24/7, going to bed, I can still hear the TV. And when I wake up in the morning, first thing I hear is the TV. It's just overwhelming me, but I don't want to wear headphones around the house all the time or earbuds because it makes us feel that we're not that connected to each other. We can't have a conversation, which I get. So I'm kind of between a rock and a hard place, needing to maintain and control my sensory overwhelm and respond to it to kind of manage it and minimize it, but at the same time be there for her so she knows that we are still emotionally connected. Executive functioning difficulties is not only a cause of autistic burnout, it is also a sign you may be going through autistic burnout, which I mentioned in my other video, 13 signs you're experiencing autistic burnout. Now, executive functioning skills, that is, are planning, organizing, and problem solving skills. These do not come easy to many autistic people who can become overwhelmed by having too much to do, too much uncertainty and chaos in our lives. We are likely to find having extra things to do, stressful life events, and minor hassles more difficult than neurotypical people might assume or might experience in their own lives. And this executive functioning challenges, which we probably have on a daily basis for many of us, whether we're in burnout or not, when they are more challenging for us and we're struggling with it more, can contribute to our autistic burnout. And the last contributing factor we're going to talk about today that contributes to autistic burnout is a lack of support. We autistics may not have access to the support we need, or we may experience gaslighting or dismissal when trying to describe our burnout. Now, this is a big thing to me. This is one of the reasons I'm an advocate for the adult autism community. This is going to sound like a little bit of rant, but hang with me. You're going to enjoy this, I think. I'm pretty sure. I'm confident. Here's the thing. This is very important to me. When I started exploring the potential that I may be an autistic adult, which I have found out I am, I notice there's a lot of resources out there for children and for parents. And there should be. The children are our future. But it's harder to find support and resources for adults. It's harder to find uh, people who are qualified to assess and diagnose autistic adults. Sometimes you have to go to a child psychologist and sit in a room full of toys, which could be fun, and to get an assessment. And they use a child's test in an adult. And then the prohibitive cost of getting tested, because most insurance companies will not cover it, and you're looking at $2,000-3,000 American dollars out of pocket to get screened and assessed. And some people find that risky because they're like, if I'm not assessed, I just blew $3,000. So there's a lot of that going on, and you can't get some support without a diagnosis, and even with a diagnosis, some support is limited. I want to see that change, and that's what I'm advocating for. And I love for you to join me in this advocating effort that I'm doing. I would like to see more resources available, and that's one thing I want to do through this channel and some other projects that I'm working on, where I help you, the autistic adult, connect with resources out there and programs and services, um, apps that you can use on your phone, whatever technology to help you and support you. I don't like the word help, support you as an autistic adult. I would also like to see more medical professionals properly trained and qualified to screen for adult autism. And I would like to see insurance companies, if they don't fully pay for the coverage of it, pay a significant portion, because not everyone has $2,000 to $3,000 laying around the house just to get screened and find out, oops, I'm not, and wait and lose that money. And of course, I like to see autism screening be more inclusive for people who are different ethnicities, social economic statuses, sexual orientations, whatever. I like to see it be more inclusive. And that's one of the things, or some of the things I would like to advocate for as an advocate for autistic adults. Now, it is your turn. Please share in your comments in the video or in my newly formed Facebook group, Autistic Adults Embracing Autism. A link to that group is in the video description. Your thoughts on this video. Tell me about your experience with autistic burnout. What are some of the signs or things you think contributed to yours that maybe I did not mention? How do you relate to what I said in this video? Or if you have an idea that you'd like me to cover in a future video, put it in the comments section or send it to me through the Facebook group. I do read every single comment and message that is sent to me. So I do want to hear from you and I want to connect with you. And remember, by commenting, liking, and sharing this video right here on YouTube, you will help our channel grow. And when I say our channel, you are an important part of the channel. If it wasn't for you watching these videos, you know what? I would be talking to myself. And I don't need to do any more of that because that's one of my stems. So please like and share this video and help this channel grow, because this channel is only going to be as great as you help me make it. I can only do so much. I need your help to spread the word so we can help more autistic people embrace autism and our holistic peers understand and embrace autism and understand us better so we can all get along. We're all on this one planet. We have to get along, people. We do. We have to find common ground and a way that we can all work together. So please help me and help us grow our channel. And I would truly appreciate that. Until next time, now is the time for you to embrace your autism. See you next time.